welcome to the Hamster Wheel for another week. As we go to air tonight, America remains devastated by the onslaught of Hurricane Sandy, or to give it its proper scientific name,
Frankenstorm.
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 Because in America, even the hurricanes have to get in character for Halloween. But, you know, I get it. The media needs a catchy name that sticks, and it's not like Frankenstorm's a name you'd easily forget.
You'll love this. Americans have a name, like Australians, Americans have a name for everything. They call this Storm, what do they call it? Storm Dracula or something.
Absolutely right. Storm Dracula or something, and that has been how News 24's been referring to the storm ever since.
But to get a sense of just how much havoc this storm has caused, you had to turn to Channel 7 this morning. I mean, look at this stat. More than 2.2 people were left without power. Just devastating stuff.
City in shutdown. City in shutdown. Now, as the storm approached yesterday, ABC News 24 kept anxious viewers up to date with the official warnings from authorities.
And American actress Eva Longoria says it's starting to get scary outside. Stay safe, everyone. So we'll be right across that.
Desperate times call for desperate housewives.
But look as ever, these dangerous stories are very difficult for the media to cover. I mean, even Channel 7 was spreading the responsible message.
I'm just stunned at how quickly the water level is rising.
That's why there is so much concern from police and security guards to get people off the street. It's almost up to my thighs now. Some people have obviously heeded the warnings, others haven't. It's a time to stay indoors and stay safe.
When Hurricane Sandy finally made landfall yesterday, all media eyes were on just one thing.
This crane in New York City.
Now, this construction crane...
We just got a new position for the camera on that crane.
Now, they were great pictures and it was a scary situation, but Channel 9 found a way to make us care even more.
Ross, we've got a live shot of a crane which has been dangling for some time quite perilously on top of a skyscraper there.
Yes.
Now, I believe that is owned by an Australian company.
Makes me so proud. And that explains why News 24 elevated the crane to the third most important story on their wrap-up of the storm.
Yeah, that's so annoying. That's the one I got wrong last night on the news showcase.
I think that the deaths should be above the Manhattan underwater, and I think the possible nuclear disaster is probably more important than the crane. All right, but let's see if you're correct. No, sorry.
Now, more than the crane, though, by far the biggest breakout star of the hurricane was New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg's official sign language interpreter, Lydia Callis.
Oh, yes. While the hurricane itself has been downgraded from Category 1, Bloomberg's interpreter has been upgraded to Category 5, which means people are advised to stay indoors to avoid being hit by her flailing arms.
Back home in Australia, not that Australia is actually part of Australia anymore, after Labor voted to remove Australian mainland from its own migration zone.
Yeah, like, I thought only Apple Maps could move an entire country.
It's weird. When John Howard suggested this very policy back in 2006, Labor called it lunacy, fundamentally abhorrent and absurd. Now they just refer to it as our policy.
But it's the refugees I feel sorry for. I mean, how can they possibly keep up?
With just metres to go now, I don't think they're going to break the migration zone. It's moving away from them all the time and they've got no hope of catching it. So disappointment for the refugees. Better luck next time.
Hard. Very hard.
Still on politics, and it was a big week for the Gillard government with the launch of their blueprint for Australia's relationship with Asia.
Yes, Gillard's vision is for Australia to have 100% more Mandarin-speaking students and 100% less Mandarin-speaking colleagues.
To be fair, though, Rudd is still making himself useful. In fact, he has offered to teach students Mandarin online in a program called Repeat After Rudd.
你们好.
你好.
Just fucking hopeless.
Tough love. It's harsh.
Tough love.
It's very hard.
You've got to get it right.
Launching the white paper, Prime Minister Gillard made a special appeal to our country's media.
I'd like to see the economic correspondent who brings us the news talking as routinely about the economic circumstances in Indonesia or Japan.
I don't know what she's worried about there. I mean, our media already have a deep understanding of Asian culture.
Ohio gozaimasu.
I keep rubbing and it's nothing come out. Genie, are you in there with Major Nelson?
Look, Paul Henry, you got to say, he absolutely...
that racism.
But to be fair, Paul Henry does absolutely nail that, and it's not the first time he has wheeled out his Japanese character either. Remember his star turn back in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah, but I lost my key.
But that was the week ago. You cannot go on and keep
He's been in the game for a long time.
Robbed of an Oscar. But reaction to the white paper has generally been a bit lukewarm, especially in the region.
Now, Labor's promised to invest heavily in Asia, and that's on top of the $120,000 they've already invested in Bob Carr's wife.
Yeah, but that is a very valuable investment. I mean, according to Bob Carr, she's our diplomatic trump card.
One of the reasons we won that Security Council seat was that we had a reputation as being a diverse, multicultural country. There, accompanying the Australian Foreign Minister was his wife, who was born in Malaysia.
It's true, doors really open up if you have an Asian wife. The only reason China gets a permanent UN seat is because their entire front bench has Asian wives. Really? They are rorting the system.
There's no question our relations with Asia have been historically tricky. They've even formed the basis of an ABC doco this year, Dumb, Drunk and Racist.
And look, given that the issue is back in the spotlight, it is great to see that the ABC has just commissioned a second series.
It was the show that put Australia's international image under the spotlight.
You fucking whoop, fucking guinea bastard.
Now, Joe Hildebrand takes 4 new Indians to the country's darkest heart. His very own offices at News Limited. And once again asks the question...
Are we really dumb, drunk and racist?
They'll be exposed to the columns of Andrew Bolt.
I think this one is definitely racist.
Confronted by News Limited drunks at awards nights.
I disgrace.
Thanks, buddy.
I don't usually drink, but it does make it easier to get through the Australian.
And go through experiences that will stay with them forever.
He's just read a piece by Miranda Devine.
So come and plough the depths of News Limited.
Joe Hildebrand is the worst. Always retweeting people who praise him. It's relentless.
On Dumb, Drunk and Racist, The Real Offenders. 8:30 Tuesday on ABC One.
Good evening, making news this hour. America is in shock tonight after a crazed gunman killed 20 people and injured dozens more in a chilling shooting spree at a US gun rally in Denver. Kenton Hurd has the details.
It was a meeting of the National Rifle Association just like any other, when shortly after 2 p.m. an armed assailant entered the assembly hall and opened fire in a fashion that onlookers described as constitutional.
I don't know what happened. One minute I was just sitting there, and then I saw this guy constitutionally and lawfully pull out an assault rifle and start shooting at us.
At least 20 people have already been confirmed dead in what police are describing as one of the worst shooting sprees that America's seen this week.
You came right up to me and shot me in the face, the neck, and the chest. That man is a hero to all freedom-loving Americans.
Witnesses said the deadly attack prompted dozens of NRA members to draw their own guns in self-defense, leading to confusion about which gunman was the actual gunman. Police have detained 240 suspects, all of whom were found at the scene in possession of firearms and ammunition.
We need to bear in mind this was just grow bad apple. We need to remember guns don't kill people.
Kenton Hurd, ABC News, Denver.
The supermarket war on petrol prices.
The Gillard government's war on free speech.
War on alcohol.
War on retail.
War on grocery prices.
A war on the sandwich.
In July, the government introduced the carbon tax.
The carbon tax is the Voldemort of all taxes.
2 more cents on your milk.
96% are saying it should be scrapped.
The tax hasn't even lasted 5 days before it's descended into complete chaos.
Complete chaos!
And the battle began between the tax's supporters.
Our carbon tax amongst the countries who have them is pretty reasonable. I can't believe how much scaremongering is around.
And its harshest critics.
This is the highest carbon tax price
in the world. Whether you believe in the tax or not is beside the point. I just think the timing's wrong and the price is wrong.
Who's right? 3 months on, and the results are in.
It's going to be a python squeeze rather than a cobra strike.
Carbon tax, cobra strike, or python squeeze.
From tomorrow, every problem we face will get worse under the carbon tax.
Every problem.
My hard-to-solve Rubik's Cube.
My ugly son.
My grumpy accent from the last sketch.
It's
worse. Council rates.
Your council rates, why the carbon tax could be pushing them even higher.
Chalk tops.
With the recent increases in electricity prices and potentially the carbon tax, they're looking at axing selling chop tops.
Piles of dirt.
His car ploughed head-on into a 10-tonne pile of dirt. The driver suspects the rubble was dumped there because the carbon tax has increased tip fees.
Or worse. Then there's Fairfax.
I'm afraid we can't play question time footage of George Brandis on a comedy show on the grounds that it is disrespectful. So instead, we will present George Brandis's quote with all the respect it deserves from a giant talking penis.
What is the government's message to the some 1,900 Fairfax media employees whose jobs have been destroyed by its carbon tax?
And singing's gotten worse too.
No Whyalla Wipeout there on my TV. No Whyalla Wipeout there on my TV.
Even current affairs beat-ups have gotten worse.
But you're so worried about your power bill that you're actually not using your oven anymore.
Correct. The fridge may have to go. I might have to get an Eskim instead of the fridge.
Or you could stop letting TV crews visit your house.
You guys got any more PowerPoints?
We're making our elderly scared right now. Scared to turn on lights, scared to use the electricity.
You sure are.
You'll never have a holiday again. You'll never be able to buy new books again. Your life ends.
And just wait till the future.
That's $5,000 less in your pocket by 2050 with a carbon tax than without one.
One Astro coffee, please.
That'll be $5,000.
No worries. Damn you, Gillard!
Even memories are getting worse.
Making news this morning, the carbon tax. Remember that? What carbon tax?
This carbon tax, Koshy.
I just think the timing's wrong.
The explodey one.
54% of you simply couldn't give a toss about the carbon price.
The carbon tax is so insidious, it's brainwashing people into forgetting how bad it is.
20 complaints isn't exactly the sky falling in, is it?
How horrific has the carbon tax been for you? It hasn't really affected me.
They've got you too!
And no one is immune from this mind manipulation.
The initial impact of the carbon tax may not be absolutely catastrophic.
What?
May not be absolutely catastrophic.
Let's play that backwards. Oh, supreme carbon tax, I bow to your almighty powers.
The carbon tax. It's not a scare campaign when it's true.
You may have noticed that on this programme we sometimes feature enlightening clips from Channel 10's breakfast show. And, of course, they're continuing to make news even this week, which is remarkable, considering where they came from.
Yeah, in the lead-up to the launch of 10 Breakfast, they marketed this show as controversial. Yet, when it debuted in February, it didn't receive one single complaint in the whole of Melbourne. Possibly because it had 0 viewers there. But since then, 10 Breakfast has really consolidated those 0 viewers.
Oh, yes. I mean, look, if you compare the ratings this month for Sunrise and then today, and here's 10 Breakfast, just wait for it. Just go down past Dan'l's Direct and The Unbelievable Truth, go past 10's Primetime. There it is, 10 Breakfast.
They've been averaging 35,000 viewers, which makes them almost as appreciated as this YouTube video of a dog licking someone's foot.
Now, this brings us to our news, because when 10's executives saw ratings that low, well, you can understand why they made the decision they did.
They're bringing 10 Breakfast back again next year! Yes!
Yeah! Oh, isn't that the best news ever? It's just fantastic. It's absolutely wonderful. And the 10 Breakfast fans are going wild.
No, that's just New Zealand celebrating because they'll have one more year without Paul Henry.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. I mean, the question is, though, you know, why is such a brilliant, fantastic show getting such low ratings? I mean could it be the content?
No, it's full of very clever facts. I mean, for instance, that piece on travel. Amazing statistics they unearthed where Southeast Asia is simultaneously the 5th most dangerous and 5th safest holiday destination.
They're very good researchers there. I mean, look, they identified Mexico as the safest holiday destination in the entire world.
Oh, it's a lovely place for a holiday in Mexico. Oh. Honestly, my brother just went there and he thoroughly enjoyed it. Actually, here he is.
He looks very relaxed.
Yeah, it's Mexico. It's great. Yeah.
So, look, the content's perfect. I really can't figure out what people don't like about this flawless show. I mean, surely it couldn't be the obnoxious man they brought in from overseas at great expense but who adds no value whatsoever.
Hey, are you talking Paul Henry?
Yes.
No, it's not him. He's not the problem. I mean, he's lovely. I mean, sure, he's a hard man to impress.
Right, on this day in 1989, the Dalai Lama, this was a big mistake, Tibet's spiritual leader, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Can't think why. So Neil Armstrong is no more, and people are saying, you know, what a great legacy he leaves. The reality is, if he hadn't been the first person to walk on the moon, someone else would have been.
Credit where it's due. But look, you think he was harsh on the Dalai and Armstrong. You should have seen his interview when Elmo was touring.
The stench around you overwhelms everything.
That was harsh.
A bit harsh, but fair.
It was. But he's filled with understanding. I mean, take Paul's empathy for old people dying of hypothermia.
Eventually, and this is the real warning sign, it's probably too late to do anything about it, you'll stop shivering. Irony. When you stop shivering, you're about to die. Slurred speech, speech difficulty. I can hardly see.
Obviously, Paul.
Slowed breathing. Now that's when it starts to really get worrying. Slowed breathing, dilated pupils, coma, and death.
So, hypothermia is something that all people need to take seriously.
Well, not all people.
No. And it's not just hypothermia. Paul's also an expert on the evolution of women.
That is the whole idea of the structure of a woman.
Oh, is it?
Yep. That the bosom should look like the buttocks. There's twice as much chance if the woman looks like she's available from both sides. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, it's true. Look, I'm sorry, the truth sometimes hurts.
Is that
and the whole
idea?
idea...
Have you ever...
No, it's true.
Do you ever wonder why women don't like you?
No, what I'm saying is actually technically correct. I'm sorry I'm going scientific on you.
He's getting all scientific. What would Paul Henry know about Neanderthal sexual practice? I mean, the Neanderthals were far more evolved than Paul Henry.
Right. Well, I think we've now conclusively proven why 10 Breakfast should be renewed for a second year. Look, actually, the person I feel sorry for, surrounded by all this woefulness, though, is Paul's co-host, Catherine Robinson.
Yeah,
you might know her as the person looking slightly disapproving whenever Paul Henry speaks.
Yeah, she seems like a normal human being to me, so what is she doing on that show?
It's like the poor thing's trapped in a hostage situation. I mean, she is the Mrs. Fritzl of breakfast television.
Well, there's only one thing for it, Andrew. We're going to have to bust her out. Paul, it's time to let Catherine go.
She has so much to live for. She can still host the circle.
10-4.
Oh, no, she can't.
Oh, my God, it's Catherine Robinson from 10 Breakfast. Catherine! Go, 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 go!
Oh, well, better this than another year of 10 Breakfast.
Kevin Rudd's leadership ambitions are in tatters. Cactus gone, il est mort, dead. Think of a word.
Good evening, welcome to The Conversation. My guests tonight are Ellen Fanning and Joe Hildebrand. But first, remember that we want you to be part of the discussion. You can tweet us via our Twitter handle @TheConversation or simply by using the hashtag #TheConversation. You can also keep the conversation going on our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Conversation or on Google+, just Google The Conversation. Or follow the links on our ABC webpage where you can also leave a message or send an email. Keeping up with the latest social media, you can also pin us on Pinterest or ping us via Pingoose or goose us via Gooseping. And members of Jansbed, you can also send us a yo-yo, which we might whistle out on the show, because as always, we want to hear from you. But we also want to see you. You can send us a video via YouTube or Vimeo or Jambo or Crossbeat Snitch or the new beta version of Bam Bam Bon Bon, or just send us a USB in the mail or a DVD, or you can make a video on your phone and MMS it to my mobile. My number's 0494 555 555. Just leave a message on that phone. I can read it out. Or just come to your local ABC and stand in front of our Converse with the Conversation green screen, because we really want your opinion. We really do. And already we have a message here from Stinky Arms 79 who goosed us this question. Hey, why don't you guys accept messages via Twatsville? Great question. We'll get right onto that because we really want you to join the conversation. Indeed, you can join me and my special expert guest every day of the week, except sadly not tonight because we've run out of time. Good night.
And if you want to continue the conversation, you can join Ellen and Joe on our Tumblr page or contact me on Grindr.
Whack, whack, whack and whack.
Malcolm Bligh Turnbull. Handsome, charismatic, an intellectual genius, a true leader, the most principled public figure of his generation.
Just some of the glowing descriptions of Malcolm Turnbull uttered by Malcolm Turnbull, who yesterday passed peacefully away. Passed peacefully out of the BRW rich list. Passed peacefully out of that embarrassing leather jacket.
From the very start of his life, Turnbull thought of himself as the smartest guy in the womb. As a scholarship student at Sydney Grammar School, Turnbull was elected school captain.
Malcolm said he'd buy me lunch at the tuck shop if I voted for him, so I did.
And that's how he became school captain?
No. This was in 2008. That's how he became Liberal leader.
As a high-flying barrister in the Spycatcher case, Turnbull took on the British establishment and won. It would be his only victory against them. His later attempts to defend the books of Max Walker proved even beyond him.
Working with Malcolm as a barrister, what was your assessment of his character?
Well, Malcolm knows defamation law and he's not afraid to use it, so I have no comment.
But this is for after he dies?
Well, in that case, he was one of the most arrogant, self-absorbed, vindictive, volatile c***s I ever met. Only for after he dies, right?
Contemplating a political career, Turnbull faced the difficult choice of which party to become Prime Minister for.
Malcolm wasn't a good fit for the Labor Party. Recruiting him would have conflicted with our commitment to giving safe seats to mediocre union hacks.
So Turnbull became a Liberal MP and quickly showed he was at home being a politician. John Howard promoted him to become Australia's Minister for Water.
Malcolm had huge water plans for the Murray-Darling. He really thought he could fix it and walk on it and turn it into wine.
After Howard's election defeat, Turnbull was the obvious person to take over the Liberal leadership, so the party turned to Brendan Nelson. Briefly.
Malcolm was an excellent opposition leader. Just didn't realise his job was to oppose the government rather than his own party.
But Turnbull did ultimately take one stance that proved very popular with his colleagues.
This is the right time to move on.
Ultimately, Malcolm Turnbull did not live to achieve his dream of being Prime Minister. His dream of being Prime Minister Abbott's assassin. Of being supreme ruler of the universe. His passing has also been noted around the world.
Justice has been done.
Dead, buried, cremated.
It just happens. It's one of those things.
Oh, my God!
What goes around comes around.
I don't care.
Malcolm Turnbull is survived by his wife, 2 children and 4,792 separate drafts of his prime ministerial victory speech. But while this world has lost one of its finest, there's no doubt that today, heaven is much, much richer.
And with Malcolm in heaven, it won't be long before there's a leadership challenge up there, too.
50 Shades of White.
50 Shades of Yay.
50 Shades of Sleep.
50 Shades of Ginger.
50 Shades of Inappropriate.
50 Shades of Grey.
Health. Once upon a time, we needed doctors to keep us healthy.
But today's medical professionals are much less productive because Channel 10's Cheryl Taylor keeps talking while they're trying to work.
Will be the flagship of the largest medical research precinct.
So now we rely on the news for sensible medical advice.
Smoking makes your nipples fall off. Eating too much cake makes you hairy.
All journalists now have medical degrees from the University of Panic.
How your address could be killing you.
Plus, sitting down could be killing us.
Especially if you sit in this chair.
As medical experts, the news is always on the lookout for the latest health breakthroughs.
Facer size involves no surgery, no needles, no Botox, and its 67-year-old inventor told Breakfast this morning you can expect to see results in just 5 days.
Now hold, push your face forward, shoulders back. Take one hand moving up the middle of your face to the top of your head and pulse.
And Facer-sized gym classes are sweeping the globe.
You're doing really well. But not all health breakthroughs make you...
But not all health breakthroughs make you look ridiculous.
Could this be the answer millions are crying out for? A quick and painless solution to...
nose hair.
It's especially useful for combating the effects of eating cake.
But no matter how amazing the breakthroughs, the best health stories remain insultingly simple.
Let's just say this is someone fresh out of school thinking of using a solarium. This is what your skin looks like. It's perfect, pale, natural colour. And this is what it can look like after you use a solarium.
But what if your health story's still too complicated?
There's one surefire solution. Helixes. Helixes explain everything.
Daddy, why is the sky blue? Oh, now I see.
And the best thing about health stories, you needn't let the truth get in the way of your astonishing discoveries.
Step right this way, folks, for a miraculous story that can cure all ills.
Is breast milk a cure for cancer?
As soon as I got my diagnosis, my first thought was I must have breast milk.
And the breast milk's working too. Although...
She's also having chemotherapy. Doctors say it's difficult to know which treatment is working.
Indeed. Hospitals now offer patients both treatments.
We have a lame man here, but not as lame as this.
How Vegemite could help protect children against dangerous superbugs.
Once again, there's one small catch.
The quantity required is equivalent to around 12 kilos of the spread.
And now for the toast.
Now, here's an amazing story. The drug Meow Meow, whatever that is, fries your brain. This is real news based on real research by a real scientist, Craig Motby.
Craig Motby, is it true that Meow Meow fries your brain?
No, that article seriously misrepresented my work. What I actually found was rather more subtle.
Boring. I'm gonna need a translation, please. Now that makes sense.
Really, all they do is they print whatever makes the best story.
Now, is there any possibility Meow Meow can make your nipples fall off?
No. For the record, guys, Meow Meow does not make your nipples fall off.
So next time you're sick, don't bother with a doctor's appointment.
Just kick back with a tall glass of breast milk and Vegemite and turn on the news.
We've had a few letters from people noting that some of our episodes this season have ended a bit abruptly without us ever saying a formal goodnight, and we do apologise for that.
Yeah, look, it is mainly a time issue. We only get so many minutes per show, and often it's the good night from the studio that tends to...